Motherhood is the hardest stunt I have ever done. You know, I've jumped off buildings, I've been set on fire, I've wrestled with grown men on camera and off, but nothing has tested me more than motherhood. It is without a doubt the hardest stunt I have ever done. Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Ross, professional stunt woman, former elite athlete, and longtime movement and mindset coach. And today I am sharing this story with you because I was lucky enough to have some amazing mentors and badass working mamas that showed me the ropes, supported me through the tidal ups and downs, and inspired me to continue chasing it all. And I think the more we real talk our experiences, instead of trying to show up polished and perfect and over the moon happy every second of the way, the better off we will all be. This isn't a highlight reel, it's the bruises, the cracks, and eventually the fierce strength that came from surviving what is motherhood. Preggers in a pandemic. Best time in film to have a baby, I thought, was during the pandemic, when filming with hundreds of strangers during that pandemic was going to be the very last thing to return to normal. I thought I had tons of time to sneak having a baby in, yet somehow, it was one of the first industries back, which I found out after I was 5 weeks pregnant already. Having the peak of my career being interrupted by the chaos and unknown was a lot to manage, and so many moms started their journey in less than ideal conditions. Pandemic, financial strain, health scares. I did. In fact, I went back to work, finishing filming the project I had been on, upon thumbs up from my doctor, of course. My last stunt was riding a motorcycle off into the sunset, my baby pudge starting to pop through my costume. It was a pretty sweet send-off into the unknown, if you ask me. The cancer scare. Many people ask me what my pregnancy journey was like, and it was pretty freaking tough, and I wasn't afraid to share it. Not only because I went through a full-blown identity crisis, as many athletic women and performers do when their identity is so closely tied to what they do and then they can no longer do it. But they found a lump in my breast early on in my pregnancy, which then entailed biopsies and medical appointments and cancer conversations. I ended up having a lumpectomy at 33 weeks, facing the possibility that that surgery itself could induce delivery. And not only that, but my numbing wore off mid-procedure, and I ended up feeling half of the operation because I was too afraid to be put under because that would induce pregnancy. So I do not recommend that experience to anyone, and it really tainted the horny phase of pregnancy that I was looking forward to. But the most powerful thing that I had to master while I was pregnant was focusing on what I could control and releasing any unnecessary stress. I hired a prepartum fitness expert to build me programs to move my body. I did eat a donut every single damn day because that is what truly made me happy. And if I missed one day, I ate two the next. I enjoyed prepartum massages from my friend and master body worker. And I cried when I was scared, and I laughed as often as I could at the absurdity of it all. By the time I had given birth, healed from said giving birth, and settled into my new mom routine, which there's no such thing in my opinion, but I was battling a mild case of postpartum depression. And I was very desperate to return to stunt work as a stunt woman. So at 7 weeks postpartum, I accepted a tiny 3-day job on a very big show. As most stunt work, everything changes from what you originally sign onto, and I found myself, instead of just chilling out being a dead body, climbing a fence, falling backwards onto metal pipes, and bouncing onto the cement floor. They told me the fall looked so real, and that's because it was. I had no core strength, I had no idea what I was doing anymore, so I just fell. I drove home crying, wondering if I would ever get back to my old self, or if my body was always going to be unrecognizable and untrustworthy, and the goal felt so completely unattainable. And the world tells moms that they can just bounce back, which enrages me because I invested in bouncing back full time with trainers and coaches and nutritionists. And that still took me 6 months to be able to operate without fear. It took another 6 months to look like I used to look before getting pregnant, and then still another 6 months after that to feel fearless and fully confident in my skin. Bouncing back needs to be rephrased to building back, because it's a butt ton of work. Nearly every couple I know, including myself, seem to struggle with the shift from partners to co-parents. But few talk about it honestly, and maybe that's because new parents are just trying to stay afloat, maybe because they haven't done much work on themselves before becoming parents and are now so aware, and maybe it's a combo. For me, that first year of parenthood almost led to divorce. If I'm being honest, it was really tough on both of us. It's a combination of broken promises and expectations, and my internal struggles with postpartum depression, dividing labor and logistics, parenting roles, and balancing that all out between two stubborn, independent people that have personal needs, goals, and ambitions. It makes for a deadly combination, and I'm so thankful that we sought help and continue to work on building our successful home life that our child can hopefully thrive in without becoming a mom martyr who gives up their entire identity for 18 years for the sake of their child, which I cannot relate to. I understand why women do it, because this is just so hard. I'm grateful to still have my own identity, and same with my partners. So by the time I was 6 months postpartum, I was back working fairly full-time on various television shows and movies, and I felt honestly like so supported by my stunt community. There was so many more stunt women who have had children, and they understand like the major load of being a stunt mom, and so many more stuntmen remain active dads who juggle film life with home life, and we're just like so all about it. It was really great. That being said, the first 3 months back on the job was a total blur. I was breastfeeding and pumping in my car. I had porta potty, in the bushes, in between takes, in superhero costumes that were filled with breast milk, because they don't give stunt moms a break every 2 hours to pump. Not that I asked for it either, because to be honest, I told very few people. Got mastitis. I was driving very fast to get home at night to see my little baby after 14 hours on set each day. And I wouldn't cry until I got in the car ride home, because I loved my job. I was brought onto a show called The Last of Us, and it ended up being a 3-week out-of-town job that actually turned into 7 weeks away from home. And the logistics of bringing the nanny and my kiddo for a week. Then my dad and stepmom flew in and watched him at night while I was on set. And then I would sleep for a few hours and chill with him during the day before going back to work and repeating it all over again. That one tested me for sure. And I had never felt so torn between wanting to be a professional stunt woman and wanting to be home, with my kiddo in his, formative years. I think mothers are constantly expected to be two people at once, committed to career and endlessly available as parents. And I have not mastered to juggle that without guilt, stress, or constant consideration. And I'm not sure there is a cure for it. If there is though, I want you to tell me immediately. Please share it in the notes. I'm happy to share that my community has allowed me to include my parenting journey in much of what I do. From very early on, myself and a handful of other stunt mamas who had the same idea of me of slipping a kid in during a pandemic and then had to dive back into work. We would bring our kiddos to training and get in our boxing and our kicking and our flipping practice between breastfeeding and snacking and entertaining our little ones. My learning to let go of how I used to have to train for my job and transitioning into a combination of what would manage and maximize bang for my buck as a working mom was a wild experience. And it did get to be a part of my kid's normal. Hearing him proudly tell people his mama fights bad guys in costumes, asking to go downstairs to our gym to do an obstacle course workout in the mornings, and being at an age where he can now run, bike, swim, cartwheel, flip, fall, play, has been like pretty darn cool. There was definitely a source of pride and perspective shift. This is why I do it. all while still lighting myself on fire, crashing through glass, and playing an infected atrocity who dies at the hands of Pedro Pascal. If you haven't seen the show, that will be totally lost on you, and that's okay. But I think I'm most proud that my kiddo sees a mom who goes after her dreams, she prioritizes herself, is grateful and present when she is playing monster trucks in the dirt or reading 10 stories with all the different voices before bedtime. I am hopeful that will serve him well in his world as he grows into a man. Because I'm definitely having fun being a stunt mom. For any of the mamas, soon-to-be mamas, or maternally curious women out there who gave this little listen, here are some of my partum thoughts. You are not alone if motherhood feels messy, heavy, and impossible at times. It is not as perfect as social media makes it believe. The same way a stunt woman trains for falls and fights, mothers train daily for resilience. Just like on an airplane, you must save yourself first by putting on your oxygen mask before saving those seated beside you. Taking care of your needs and well-being is just as important as doing whatever it takes for your kiddo to thrive. And I believe that in my heart of hearts. Share this with someone that could use a little stunt mom laugh or a mom pep talk. And we'll see you out there. Well, that's my mama journey to date in a nutshell. Just the most important notes. Hope some of that made sense. I hope some of it was helpful. It's an ever going journey.